Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hi, best friend.
Hi.
Oh,
I don't.
Erin says she loves you.
That's my grandchild.
Everybody, everybody loves you, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know you're a celebrity.
Sure they do. Sure they do.
I do, but if you don't quit talking to people in the quick shop, ask them.
All right, here's the public hearing. 6 p.m. Monday, August 22nd, 2022. In regards to our property tax rate hikes. So I was hoping Kelly would be here and maybe lead it off. Let me check phone. That works.
Yeah. Special.
Was Greg or Lindy gonna be on for the?
Lindy just came on. Lindy, you hear us? No.
Okay, I'll let him know. Bye.
Get you down just a bit. In the middle of something.
They're up there, but they're not. Greg, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Lindy, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
Right.
Well, I want to go ahead and please silence your phone. Moving forward, please. So we've already opened the public hearing. Kelly, would you feel comfortable going over the process or do we have Greg?
I think that Greg and Lindy should probably cover it.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, Greg or Lindy, can you mind going over the process for the public hearing?
Sure, for the tax rate, it's required that the city have a public hearing before setting its tax rates for the year. So the statute requires either publication of notice in advance or posting in 3 separate public places. I think this was handled by posting as it has in prior years. And so the hearing provides an opportunity for anyone to provide comments on the tax rate decision that the council has this evening.
So I'll start off with a few questions because I've had some citizens approach me. What is the city's current ceiling for property taxes that's been approved by the voters?
That comes from Chapter 94 of the Missouri statutes. Cities, including third-class cities for general municipal purposes, have a statutorily approved maximum of $1 per $100 of assessed valuation for their tax rates. The city has not been able to levy that for many, many years due to the rollback calculations that occur under the Hancock Amendment. Sort of a short explanation of that is that it's in calculations done by the state auditor each year. The Hancock Amendment was passed in 1980. The city, in fact, levied the full $1 statutory maximum rate in 1980. if your assessed values, so in years where we think back to certainly around, pre-2008, but even in the 90s and 80s, assessed values of properties would often go up in greater amounts than inflation or general cost of living increases. And not the case this year, which is why the auditor's calculated ceiling has increased. But for the pattern over many, many years after Hancock was passed was that the assessed values would increase more. That amendment required then any political subdivisions to roll back part of their tax rate so that they were not collecting more revenue than a general increase, CPI-based increase would allow. And so that's resulted in, in more recent years, the tax rate, the maximum allowable tax rate under Hancock being able to be set at 73 cents, 74 cents, somewhere in there. But because this year the assessed values increased significantly less, some amount less, I should say, than general cost of living, the allowable rate, as you see in those state auditor tax forms, is now at the 0.8074 as the highest rate.
Now I'm looking at some old forms. I shouldn't say old, but the forms I got, have they been modified? Because it's showing like a 1.8785.
Yes, so Charity and I were working on that even on 2 Fridays ago when trying to get the state auditor's numbers and the county clerk's numbers to reconcile. And the state auditor's forms, what she was able to figure out were based on county clerk numbers that were certified in July. Then the county assessor and county clerk updated those numbers as of August 1st. So the state auditor's forms, at the last I knew, had not caught up with that. But Charity ran calculations using, and the numbers were not dramatically different, but they were different. And she ran the numbers using the final numbers from the county from August 1st. And the changes did not affect the tax rate ceiling calculations. I think that percentage increase in adjusted valuation may have been more like 1.3, 1.4%, but the 8074 came out the same.
Okay.
I know too, she was requesting that the state auditor update the forms as they've done in prior years. I don't know if that has come in.
Okay. A couple other questions. So under city ordinance 130.040, our tax levy ordinance. It reads, it shall be the duty of the city council at the main meeting or at an adjourned sessions thereof to enact an ordinance levying taxes sufficient to provide for the anticipated expenditures for the coming year with due regard for contingent or reserve funds. So the question is, are we in compliance with our ordinance?
Well, yes, this setting the tax rate is part of that process. And there's also, relevant statutory language in 67-110 that says that the tax rate that gets published in the notice shall, yield substantially the same revenue as provided in the budget. You're talking about budgets and tax rates. So nothing, there's no requirement that things line up dollar for dollar, but it has to be, substantially the same.
So I got our 22-23 proposed budget that we adopted and approved for our current year property tax. And we budgeted $216,000 and this ain't a certified copy. So, but looking at the projections, with the general, projections, the 295,000. Or is that 262,000? Either one is more than what we budgeted for. So does that go against RSMO 67.110 or 137.245?
What was the amount we had for the property taxes you got there?
Well, this ain't a certified copy. This is what I had on my desk. So Kelly might be able to.
Well, I can tell you that that question come to me from Greg a couple of weeks ago. And I done the math and I said, well, significant is kind of a relative term, but I said, here's what amount that it is. So I need you to determine whether that, meets or not. And he said that it would be okay, so.
Kelly, for everybody's information here, how much more money does this mean that will be coming into the city?
I have to go back and look. Greg, do you happen to have that email in front of you where we done calcs?
I think that's on the
I-
data page, isn't it?
I can try to find that email. I don't have that email right in front of me, Kelly. I can look for it here just a second. I'm looking at the state auditor's tax forms though. So part of there are two different forms that they submit for general revenue. One is under the scenario where the city chooses to, voluntarily roll back to keep the tax rate the same as it was in the previous year. So that would be the 0.7359. And that yielded a revenue of 279.32. So then under the tax rate, new tax rate ceiling calculation of the 8074, that number comes out, I think around 295, but that's where I think that was the charity's estimate, without the final state auditors corrected numbers coming in. So it's a difference there, so there's already the difference between the budgeted amount that you indicated, Mayor, up to the 270, even at the 7359. And then it's another 20,000 or so above that if at the 8074 rate. But I've not seen any case law that gets down to the fine point to say, above or below this, certain percentage is, compliant with substantially in 67-110.
I know,
That still didn't answer my question.
so go ahead.
How much more revenue does that mean for the city? That's just a simple question. How much more revenue would that mean coming in?
So already done it.
How much more of the 8074 versus the 7359?
If we pass this, how much more money are we talking about?
I may be looking at this wrong, Mr. Gilpin, but at the very bottom, I'm going to make the assumption, I may be wrong on this, but from the previous year to the current year, we're looking at on 29,747. And the library board would be $484. Is what they, is that correct? Am I looking-
29,000?
This one right here.
Yeah.
Anticipated tax revenues based on the goat.
I'm the same.
That's, yeah. I believe that is correct, but I'd like someone else to verify that besides myself.
Yes, it would be if these figures are correct. But let's go a different direction on this. What are we planning on doing with this?
People are trying to listen. You mind?
Open your,
Shut your mouth.
Hey,
oh, shut yours.
hey, no more outbursts, please. This is be a warning for everyone. Any more outbursts without being recognized by myself, we'll give you one more warning and then flash you. Who was talking? I apologize.
If we pass this, what are we planning on doing with the additional money that, since the budget's already been made for next year? This is additional money that's coming in. What are we planning on doing with it? Are we gonna spend it for more lawyers or what? We're already spending a tremendous amount on lawyers now, over 100,000 on one firm and our own attorneys for the year. So I want to know what we're going to spend this additional $29,000 for.
Looks like with inflation at 9%, and we've got about an 11% increase here, we're not gonna be generating that much extra money. It's a lot to go yet this year.
My concern is, and I'll get with you, Rich, here in just a second. My concern is mainly for Greg or Lindy, is we've already got a budget that was duly approved and adopted. And we had anticipated revenues already set up for our property tax. And we get the cart before the horse maybe, but now we do this tax hike. And it's going to produce revenues exceeding what we budgeted. Will we ultimately be looking at a rollback potential down the road? Because we have done that in the past. We've had to do property tax rollbacks because of that.
Well, now, I'm not seeing anything in the statutes that require or ordinances that require a rollback. It's just and the city also, of course, does its mid-year budget every year. So it has the opportunity to, answer, Don's question of how you recalibrate. And of course, don't know if other expenses are going up beyond the budget as well. I think every city faces this to one degree or another, because you can only go with the information that you have at the time that you do the budget, and you don't have the current years or the upcoming years assessed figures to work with at that point in time. So everyone has to wait for the county assessor to do the assessor's job and then the state auditor to do their job before you even really can get down to the final rate decision to know exactly what type of revenue to estimate.
Councilman Ringhausen.
I'm so confused on the 11% on the general down there, the change, 11% increase, is that what it's saying?
Yeah, based upon the assessed value of the property and with the increase that we're putting onto it.
Where does the inflation come in at? I mean, you can't budget that in May when we were just.
Quiet, please.
I mean, it looks like we're taking a hit. I mean, inflation is 9%. Everything we buy, everything we touch is more money, and you can't budget that back when we do the budget.
No. So my thought, and I agree with you, but when we do a budget is really truly an estimation of what we anticipate of cost, expenses, and everything else. It's kind of hard to anticipate a revenue increase, but we've been dealing with this Hancock Amendment for over 20 years. So we got to take that into account, but since our revenues haven't even been adjusted to take that into account, my concern, just for me, is, reading the statutes, the tax rate shall be calculated to produce substantially the same revenues as required in the annual budget adopted as provided in this chapter.
Gross revenue.
Yeah.
I guess in the way I was answering Don's question, he's wanting to know what we're gonna do with all this extra money,
Right.
and there's not gonna be all this extra money there.
Yeah.
Which statute is that you're looking at, by the way?
So at the end of the year, when we pay our taxes, it's gonna be like $300 more.
Come up to the, Rich, Rich is next, because
Yeah, I have a complaint. I'm sitting here trying to listen to you. And they won't shut up. They're continually back here whispering and I can't concentrate and they won't shut their mouths. Can you please do something about that? That'd be appreciated. Great.
Cause I was trying to ask her the damn question.
okay,
Hey,
Oh, why are they special?
hold on. Call to order here, guys. I've already given one warning. All right. And any.
I mean, that's funny, but back there they can talk and you ain't said nothing to them, Rich.
I ain't heard them. All I've heard is going on over here.
It's funny.
Chief, will you escort both Rich and Desiree out, please?
Let
I
them
mean,
go
no fucking
first.
escort, fucking seek out.
Oh, your mom a bitch. Yes. Oh, yeah. What? I had a big old speech too.
Guys, we'll just reminder, decorum utmost. I'll try to treat everyone with respect. So please treat everyone else with respect. And when we get ready to ask for public to come forward, I will address one at a time, okay? Right now, you will have an opportunity to speak, and we're going through some statutory stuff and things that we're trying to clear for ourselves on this. And I'm sure you have the same questions, maybe other questions that we haven't heard or thought of. So,
Before you continue, what statute are you discussing right now?
67.110.
Thank you.
So, council, is there any other questions that you want to ask the city attorneys or our city administrator before we open up the floor to the public?
Back to my point, thing of it is, we don't have a lot of extra money coming. Can't do it because the Hancock was, like, actually was taking it, and we're losing money. We're operating on less money than we.
Okay. Any other questions or from the council?
We approve this one when they go into effect. For this year's taxes or for next year?
It'd have to be set, turned in by September the 1st and be for this year's coming. The big thing I'm concerned about is not the money amount and inflation, because I know we can use the money and I know we can. I'm all about procedure. If we're following the correct procedure, giving clear notification, we're following the statutes, if we're following our budget. And right now I have a concern with that. I'll open up the floor to the public. Please come up, state your name.
Mike Sherman, 811 North 8th. All right. Some of the questions you asked for, the lawyer, I also had. However, your question regarding 130.040, that was a yes or no question. You didn't answer yes or no. In fact, I don't feel question at all. So once again, there is an issue with the public meeting tonight regarding the proposed tax increase. This action should have taken place back in May of this year in accordance with City Ordinance 130.030 and 130.040. You have verbiage in there, and I handed out to the public those particular ordinances, and that verbiage is at the May meeting or at adjourned sessions thereof, which may confuse people, but it simply means that in the May council meeting, a motion should have been made in reference to the tax measure and then rescheduled for another time, which would have been specifically mentioned prior to adjournment adjournment of the May council meeting. According to my notes and from what I can see on the agenda, that was not on the May agenda. In fact, the May agenda is where you raise the usage and sewer tax 7.5%. Which was also done not in a timely manner. So that's what makes it improper. And as I said before, an educated citizenry is very important, or the city government will do as they please without regard to ordinance, the Constitution, or Missouri RSMOs. So both 130, 40, and 30, they both talk about the May meeting. Now, it seems to me, and common sense would probably prevail if anything like that still exists. That when you make the budget at the beginning of the year, they're also doing these tax levies at the beginning of the year at the same time. And that's why it's all done at the beginning of the year, including May. That's it. You know, if you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. You all blew it. You dropped the ball. You didn't do it in May. Bottom line, you didn't. You should have, you didn't. So, you know, regardless of what our legal counsel says, there are ways to relieve this issue. And I'll just, you know, tip my hand right now, 106.230. 106.230. That's part of it. That's the beginning process. There are other parts and processes and procedures involved too. Or people that don't follow ordinances that are sworn to office. And I'm ready to pursue them with my legal counsel. Now, as what Don brought up, yeah, you guys are blowing money on the legal. By the end of the year, at the rate when I had mentioned the legal fees, you will have used over $52,000 more than you had the previous 2 years, 52,000. Now, you bought 2 dump trucks last year. That money isn't going to be used to buy dump trucks this year. That was over $100,000. So you have that money this year that you could possibly use somewhere else also. Now, I haven't crunched numbers yet on what has been used for legal fees over the last 3 months, but I have sunshined it and I do have documents. And at a later time, I'll let you know where we're going from the 52,000. It's probably going to be higher than that. Thank you for your time.
Can I ask a question relating to that?
Yep.
Mr. Sherman, you said that the tax levy ordinance requires mayor of the adjourned sessions to enact an ordinance levying taxes.
That's
So is your position then that we can't enact any ordinance levying taxes now?
my position is that it should have been done in May at the start of the fiscal year. Yes, but it's
So we
not
can't
for me to determine. After the affidavit is submitted to the county prosecuting attorney, then a judge will have to make that decision, right?
So hold on. I mean, I'm just asking about the interpretation of what this means. So if we miss passing any type of tax ordinance in May, you're saying we can't pass any property tax. And so we're going to lose the entire 200.
That's what I read, but I didn't do all the case laws.
Okay.
So there may be other laws, but it's not up to me to determine. Once it goes, once the affidavit is filed with the county prosecutor, then the judge will have to make that determination further on down the road. If the prosecutor chooses not to take the case, then the affidavit is sent up to the governor, who in turn assigns the attorney general to the case, and he'll file the charges. And then they'll decide. At which point, if it is found that this council is not abiding by the ordinances, there's a long list, then you could all be in jeopardy.
Anyone else want to address or have the floor? State your name and.
Corey Anderson. My thing is not anything to do with this budget talk. I mean, that's your guys's.
No, this is strictly a public hearing for this tax hike.
Oh, well, then I have nothing to say about it. I was wanting to address.
I apologize. It's, the regular council meeting will follow this.
Awesome, I'll do it then.
Doris Henderson. My question is, if we don't pass an increase, will we be deficit spending? Or is there money that is to carry over to any budget that is not met by what is incoming? So if we don't increase the taxes, will we be, we can't deficit spend, correct? Because we just can't do that. We can't print money.
Right.
We're not the government. So will we be trying to deficit spend if we do not raise the taxes? In other words, are y'all gonna spend money you don't have?
So council or Greg, the assessed valuations of our property taxes are going up regardless.
Right,
And we're gonna have an increase in taxes regardless, just because of the assessed valuation, right?
yeah.
So-
Older homes and we get assessed for
Yeah,
higher, yeah, and
so the anticipated revenues, I would say, would be projected higher regardless.
so you'll be getting more money regardless of an increase in the ceiling that is being charged, the percentage. Because the evaluation will go up and you'll get more money because the percent of a higher rate is a
And I
higher rate.
think, and to answer your question, council or Kelly, or, we budgeted, if we look here, we budgeted 262,000, if this information on the public hearing notice is correct. Prior to tax year, we generated 265,000. So there should be a cushion there, but like I said, I'll defer that to Kelly and our attorneys, since we no longer have a treasurer to address our concern.
That was my question.
You see that?
60.
But wouldn't the budget show us what we actually brought in versus what anticipated?
Yeah,
Because that would show an actual 216.
that shows considerably amount lower than what's in here.
Yeah, because we don't always get it all.
Yes. Our best bet is what, is it 90%?
I mean, I replied to you, 91, 92%, something in that area.
So, that's the one thing I don't like about this, is looking at our budget and looking at our numbers here, how they don't really mesh together too well. Anyone else on the floor?
So you guys keep raising taxes, we just got a water hike. And you guys want to raise the personal property taxes. We're gonna buy another ATV? Or what's the purpose of doing that? You have elderly people here. Some of them can't afford to pay taxes if you hire them. So, what we, like everybody else said, what are you spending the money on? I'm waiting for somebody to give me an answer.
Well, we're trying to make that determination right now with this public hearing. We haven't voted on anything. We will be going into a regular session following this meeting, and it will be brought up and maybe debated a little bit during that time frame. But your input and each other's input as a team in a community is vital for this council to make a good decision. So we're not talking about a lot of money here compared to the cost of living, but yet to me, it's a principle thing. Let's do it the right way and communicate it openly with the public. And it may be a wash this go around, who knows, or we may vote to do it, but either way, that's why we're here now doing this.
Okay, now I don't know if you're gonna make me sit down and wait or not. Each one of you guys get paid something every month. Why not just voluntarily do this? And let that money go back to where the reserves, where it needs to be. Am I correct?
Well, so now I can answer that question. So and Greg, you can back me up, because I was go forfeit my salary as mayor. But legally, I cannot do that under the state constitution. And as elected officials, and with the ordinances that are enacted as it is now, we cannot forego that salary. Now, that doesn't mean we can't collect it and donate it, but but we can't go without a salary as it is written now. And Greg, I don't want to get in
No,
depth on that topic, but that's the basic answer.
but I'm saying, if they do $1 a month, put the rest of it in reserves and quit raising freaking everything up. This ain't the cities. This is a rural town. I mean,
A dying little town.
yeah, there's nothing here. Instead of fixing Georgia Street up, put something in here for kids or something. I mean, you can't make Georgia Street look any prettier than what it is. So do something for the community instead of just on Georgia Street. It's not the only street in town. So, I've spoke my piece and I'll speak it again.
Mike Sherman. Social Security went up by 6.5%, so I guess the elderly people in town just won't be able to buy their medicine.
Anyone else from the public? All right, hearing no other comments, I'll make or entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
The public hearing is everyone good and wants to move forward? Okay. Zero six 37 hour, Monday, August 22nd. Would be the city of Louisiana, Missouri regular council meeting.
By 1837, we can put down there.
Yes. Yes, that'd be better. 1830.
I didn't get up at 6:30.
Okay. Yeah, you get that memory?
Yeah.
All right. The floor is open for public comment. Yeah.
Okay, so Corey Anderson again. And Chief, the question I have for you was it incredibly busy today around 11 a.m. for the police department? I mean,
I'd say my hearing, or if they want me to answer, I will.
reason why I'm asking this is we had a individual from our community pass away that did many, many years of service for not only Louisiana, but for Buffalo, for Pike County as a whole. And I may be wrong, but I noticed representation from all across this county and state at his services today. The one place I did not, the one entity I did not notice there was the Louisiana Police Department. If they were there in plain clothes or in unmarked cars, maybe, I don't know. But everybody else had marked patrol cars leading the procession, blocking roadways and all that, which as a former police officer here in town, we always make sure we perform those duties out of respect for the families that lost their person. And I'm just curious as to why that did not happen for Mitch today. When I had heard rumor before this day happened, that it was said that they were not going to be there for Mitch or his family because of issues that Mitch had created with the police department. I don't care how big or small the problem is, when something like this happens for somebody that dedicated a whole lot of his life to this community, there is no damn reason why that couldn't be put aside. You can't get this day back.
Out of respect.
And as a city, I feel like we dropped the ball today. And I would just like to know if they were incredibly busy. I understand that. If the police department was so busy that, I mean, I know that their off-duty officers are on all the time anyway. I mean, they come in late at night and all throughout the day, there's 2 or 3 in a car at a time, even if they were off duty. Why couldn't they come in to pay the respects and to represent you guys?
In the appropriate attire.
So, I mean, do you all have an issue with Chief Jones answering the question or?
Does anyone on the council want to see if Chief Jones wants to respond?
Yeah, I think it. Chief, do you have something you'd like to say? I don't know.
I do. They actually had two officers on duty today. Dealing with an issue that was budget line items on vehicles that need to be replaced. That's what Corporal Turner was dealing with. There was also two accidents that was here in town. They also had a check welfare, they had a burglary call, and they had a couple other service calls that were going on.
That was at 2 p.m. Right, I was there.
What's that?
I said the one accident was at 2 p.m. at 7:00.
Well, you asked me, I don't know the exact time.
Well, I'm just curious, like, was the budget line item thing or whatever you said that they was working on, would that not be done after the service?
Actually, it could not have been done.
I mean, I don't
The
know.
reason being is that everybody knows that the state bid for vehicles were canceled. And there's deadlines that was on it that had to be done by today, if the VINs were cut on the vehicles or not. So it was to work towards that. And I believe that the county was working on the same issue because I got two vehicles that are being delivered also. So we're setting.
But the county was definitely,
I don't know.
Our biggest thing, so address the council and then council asks chief to address the council. We just don't want to go back and forth.
Understood. I just think things like this can be tightened up just a little bit. I mean, we can't get this day back. And I believe that family should be pissed right now. Because every time that bell rang or that pager went off, Mitch didn't come up with an excuse not to be there. Mitch was one of those guys, he was always there. And it's a sad day for somebody to have to sit and watch a community that I've given a whole lot of myself to as well. To watch it not be there for somebody that has gave his blood, sweat, and tears and the emotional damage to doing the stuff that man did, and we couldn't even get one car. We're gonna put one car in the procession. Something's wrong. Thank you.
I'm Sherman, 811 North. Yeah, I give everybody your officer's oath, which I highlighted that he will support, and I didn't write it, so I don't know why they use generic terms, but he will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of this state affecting cities of this class and the ordinance of the city, and faithfully demean himself in office and ordinances of the city. So what triggered this? I was to me it was 6 1/2 of the dozen of the other, because Tiffany does try and do a lot for the community, but there was letters to the editor in the Press Journal where one comment was made. I know for a fact that Tiffany Ardeneau has lived in Ward 2 up until May of this year. Then another one says, first of all, Tiffany, I know for a fact, has lived in her ward almost the entire year. One of those is a relative of Nick's. My question is, if this council under 77.390 through statute 77.390, which is your oath, says that you're going to uphold the ordinances, and the ordinance requires you to live in the ward, why hasn't this council done anything? That's okay. It'll all be part of the affidavit. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public?
So on the water bill thing, y'all just increased that all, boom. Why did you just not increase it so much over so many years instead of everybody with such a high water bill? I mean, would it have been easier to make the people happier to do it that way? Throw it in there on them? And why does the council get to vote on everything? Used to be, the people voted on pretty much everything. Yes, ma'am, I have an uncle who sat right there, probably the same spot you sat. Yes.
May I address the interest rates?
Yeah.
I would say, because I have student loans that are tied to interest rates, we've had many years of very low interest rates. And my understanding is that we could get along for a number of years on roughly the same amount of revenue, right? Because it's charged, of course, by use, not as a tax.
Yeah, but how do you use more
So-
sewer than you use water?
Hold on, hold on, before we get going, let Councilman finish.
I apologize.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, for me, the interest is a significantly different variable. In terms of the water and sewer, that I'd have to defer to the people that run the water system. Because I don't know specifically what the intake requires, what processing the sewer requires. But they are different processes. I don't know specifically what the requirements of that.
Okay, so. I can drink my water. I own property in this town. Think to get my water don't come from Louisiana, I'd be paying a water bill I couldn't afford in sewage use. People aren't home, most people aren't home 8 hours through the day. So I don't understand how your sewage and your water bill can be that high. And why raise the taxes if you can't drink it?
I drink it every day.
Do you have a filter on that? I can come to your house and look,
Yes, that bottle is full of water out of the tap attached to the Louisiana system.
but I can come to your house and look.
Yes.
I'm not calling saying you're lying or anything.
Time's up, thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Yeah, I do. Why does the council people get to vote on what water rates we pay? That should be put on the ballot for the people to vote. Why should all you get to do what you want to do? If it wasn't from us citizens, there would not be a town. And you can sit there and snarkle and laugh all you want because everybody knows where you live. And you're in the wrong for doing it. But you don't care because you got the rest of them to back you. That's why you feel safe, and it's wrong. That's somebody on there that lives in the ward. And let these people vote for stuff. It shouldn't be up to all of you all to pass something. That should be up to the voters. Don't you think? Nick, what do you think? Do you think the people should vote on this and not the council people?
I think that the taxes are voted on because they're based upon what the city funds, what we want the city funds to be. I think that the water rates are based upon cost.
Okay, then if you're worried about the city funds, why don't you get rid of the cops that wreck the cars?
That's not related to enterprise. That's related to the property tax, sales taxes that the people do vote on.
But we're paying these taxes to pay for these wrecked cars. We're paying these taxes for you to sit on this board, and you all do nothing for us. And I think it's time the citizens stand up and take their town back. Because you all run it like shit. Not funny.
Well, she asks about it all the time.
You're sitting there laughing again, Nancy.
Brian Polston. So I would like to know how our sewer rates are determined. How do we determine our sewer rates on our bill? How is that, where's the math in that? Is there a meter? Are we gauging off of how much water is used? How is that determined?
That's correct. It's
Which one's correct?
There's a meter and
Water usage.
water usage. It's
measure
like
your usage, and there's a meter that has, most of them are the.
That specifically reads separate from the water, sewer usage and
No,
water usage
no,
are separate?
your sewer is built off of your water usage.
Okay. Okay, just asking because I called the city before I filled my pool. 8,000 gallons went into my pool and I still paid sewer on 8,000 gallons, even though the city said that they wouldn't bill me for that quantity of water. But they did.
First I heard of it, so.
Well, I just got my
We
bill.
usually make an allowance for that, so.
Yeah. I called about it, they said they would, they didn't. So. Maybe we should, do most cities, is that the way they do it? They base sewer off water usage? Okay.
Yes, yes,
Not all of
Thank
it, Kelly, they don't.
not all, but
She
most.
shouldn't have been charged sewer on,
That's right. I'd say there's clerical error.
okay.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Can I bring my bill in and get that fixed?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, anything on that?
I think what Stephanie was trying to say was that a lot of us feel that we're not being represented in that we are not being able to talk to our representatives of our wards. And in such, when we have concerns and we bring them up and they're just kind of shoved under the carpet or whatever, we feel that the council is doing whatever they want. They're not listening to people. And as such, you are our representation. There should be time set aside for the people to meet with the council people, because I have reached out, and several of you know I've reached out and gotten negativity. I went to Nick's house and we had a good conversation, but nothing actually came of that conversation. So I feel that we're not being represented by the people that were voted in to represent us. And I think that's exactly where Stephanie was trying to go with it, but it just didn't pan out because she got a little emotional. Okay?
Since it's specifically addressed whether I did anything, can I make a response?
Go ahead.
We did message back and forth on that, and I
Yeah,
addressed your
still going on.
concerns with the relevant officials, right?
Yeah, things are still going on.
Okay.
Kelly and I have spoke about it. Things are still going on, Kelly. I have more videos if anybody ever wants them. Every single day. Right now, probably, as we speak.
Anyone else from the public? If not, Diana, we want to move her up front, and I really appreciate your patience for waiting. Some good news for the city, I believe.
I think it is too. We have been able to speak with Karen Hudson from the Missouri Department of Conservation. And she is telling us that they have some, quite a bit of money for recreational grants that is available. And the city would like to move forward, or economic development would like to move forward with writing a grant for $950,000 for riverfront improvement. There would be a 25% match in kind that we could do. It could be donations, it can be, provided, labor provided by the city, it could be anything of that sort, any kind of youth group involvement, so on and so forth. Anything that would have a dollar value would go toward the in-kind contribution. I know community government has already donated $600 worth of trees. So, and there's other, donations, and the Boy Scouts could be involved, and different organizations in the community. I know they're trying to raise money for the blocks again at the riverfront, so that could be considered in kind. So those are, just different examples of ways that we can come up with our 25% of in kind donation towards the $700 or $950,000 grant. We're talking about just the area that the city owns. We're not trying to get into the other part of that. Until we know where we stand with that, that's gonna just kind of be there. And maybe later on in another phase, we can move into that once we know where we stand, the relevant part of it. So.
Wow, that's
I'm excited about it. Karen seems to think that we have a very, very good chance of getting the grant. So, she said not a lot of people have applied for it. I've been going back and forth in emails with her and with Linda Sutton, who's also helping to get the grant written. And it looks great. It looks great. So.
You need authorization from us to write that grant? Well,
I'm not quite sure what that procedure is, do we need, Kelly, would you know, do we need,
I know that we'll need, if we receive the grant, we have to approve receiving the grant. The biggest thing on this is that the council is not blindsided and the community is not blindsided.
Right.
Of the effort of applying for it. So I would say it can wait until we receive a notification of an award.
okay,
And go with our
I mean,
blessing.
I would be very careful about taking in-kind products.
Okay.
And you can call over and ask them,
Sure.
because sometimes if you take that in or in possession before the grant's approved, it can be counted as in kind.
gotcha,
So
Okay.
you may want to be careful about that.
okay, all right,
Good tip.
yeah, okay,
In time would, does that include labor?
Yes,
yes.
and I might give you a little bit more detail when we get to further along in the agenda, just a little bit. And then nothing specific, but kind of give you a little bit more of an overview of what we're looking at as far as what y'all put together, so.
I think it'll make a big difference. It'll at least clean up the area, make it look attractive. Boaters and whatever going by will see a much more attractive area. So I'm excited that we have the possibility of getting this grant and it's out there and hopefully from our lips and God's ears, we'll get it. So,
Thank you for finding that.
City clerk, is there any written communication?
no, that's great.
So we please take the roll call.
Mr. Sutter.
Here.
Ms. Evans.
Here.
Ms. Ardno.
Here.
Mr. Giltner.
Here.
Mr. Peugeot.
Here.
Mr. Roberts.
Here.
Mr. Gilbear. Mr. Ringhouse.
There.
All right, Councilwoman Evans, can you give an invocation, please?
Lord of all creation, we come today to honor you and to remind ourselves of your pivotal place in our lives. We ask for your blessings on this meeting. We ask that your wisdom would guide us as we seek to accomplish the goals on today's agenda. Thank you for the opportunity you give us to serve you and others. May our actions and our attitudes please you this day. We pray these things in your mighty name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Council, any revisions, additions, or movement?
In consideration of what Chloe was saying, and I didn't realize until today that we were having that. I would. Be there. Could we put a resolution on just thanking Mitch as a citizen of Louisiana for his service to the city and to the county?
Do what? We got a motion that Councilman Peugeot wants to draft a resolution in recognition of Mitch Allsall's service to the community.
Second.
Second. Any, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Nick, I think maybe a proclamation, and Mayor, what are your opinions on that? I think, yeah, that might be more appropriate.
Yeah.
That'd be fine. So, what we're voting on right now is to put it on the agenda to talk about it. So, any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it on, all right. Everyone say yay, in favor?
Yay.
Opposed, like sign? Okay, so we'll bring that up under new business. Okay. City clerk, can you give us an update on the minutes, please?
Still working on them.
All right, so we have no minutes to review or approve. All right, mayor's report. announcements. I want to let you know or get the council to do a simple motion to go ahead and put it in the record for the minutes. Go ahead and have Charity Leslie's name removed of all accounts with all the banks since her resignation. They'll require a simple motion passage. Yeah, first and second, Don and Bob. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Excuse me. Also, just to add on to what the Diana was talking about as far as that grant application, it does sound promising because we're one of the few that really submitted for it. But what we're looking at, just so the community and the council and everyone knows, we're looking at major repairs to the WPA seawall, probably about up to $600,000, and that's going all the ways to the river's edge. Not very many people, younger people, may not even be aware that the lower level used to be just stone, and there was no dirt or grass or anything, so it's all clear and clean. So that's the envision. Also to replace the restrooms at the riverfront with a more ADA modern restroom. Looking at raised curbing, doing something up front to sustain flooding and easier cleanup and look good. And landscaping, and also part of it would be there's an educational side of this with the Missouri Department of Conservation as far as putting some sort of I forget the proper name for them, but kind of like a plaque displayed laying down, kind of describes the river, describes the habitat and so forth. Also looking at redoing the signage for Louisiana. We still like that concept of the way it looks, but we want it to be viewed from both sides. From the river side, it's a wave bearing signage. So, and then, so that's kind of the general overview, plus engineering costs be involved in all that. So I just want to kind of give everyone an overview of what to look for, and we should hear something back by the end of September. Whether or not
Corps of Engineer get involved with that stuff at all.
So I'm gonna have to defer that to the engineering firm if we're lucky enough to get the grant. Lay all that stuff out. If they got to put coffer dams in or anything to do repair work at the water level, I'm sure they would be involved. But but I have to defer that to the engineers. We budgeted about 65,000 for engineering costs, so hopefully that will cover it.
Cool.
Speaking about the seawall, it was brought to my attention that back in February that we had a barge dock up against our seawall. And we got pictures of it, and we got identification numbers of the barge. And if we can follow up with that, I'm sure that didn't help the lower level of our seawall. And I don't believe they had permission. I'd have to ask you all, or if anyone had permission, but we do have a photograph of the barge docked up there against that, and that can't be any good for our seawall. So we may request our attorneys to, if we can get the information to them and follow up with a letter, maybe seek some sort of retribution to potential damage that occurs to that. If it's not too late.
Is that at the far end?
No, you know where our Louisiana sign is?
Oh, right after that.
They were docked right there.
Because I know we frequently have like
Yeah,
floods and
yeah,
stuff.
right underneath the flag, yeah. It is in February when this happened. So I just wanted to let you all be aware of that. So see if there's any recourse on any of that.
Do we know if it was like an emergency or anything? If it's why we got for any particular reason, like?
Absolutely nothing. No notification that I'm aware of. We're just gonna try to chase it down and see. I know in years past, we've had similar damage occurred with a barge breaking away and hitting the wall. And we recouped funds for that.
Emergency, was a medical emergency or something like that,
Right,
get in and out, just access.
right.
And with all the stuff for the seawall you were talking about, is that in regards to what Magnus talked about as well?
Yeah.
That's where most of that's coming from.
So what I'm talking about as far as damage from the barge is
No.
totally different.
As far as like the bathrooms, the flats.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I figured that was probably coming in something.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. That's all that I have. City administrator?
I don't have anything different from the last committee meetings. Paving contracts out, maybe in our finishing touches on the real water contract, should be in touch with them this week. With that, start negotiations there, so.
Okay, and Councilman Giltner, I know you probably didn't receive the email, but did you receive the communication that we did receive all the rest of the funding from the rescue? So that other $300-something thousand we did receive. It's deposited.
So the notice to proceed is going to include both places that we authorized.
We got the money, we run.
All right, council, we got the chief's, police chief's report. Is there any questions you want to chief to address with the report?
I'd just like to ask if we can, if the chief has any highlights, he'd like to give us anything that's changed or any big things. Or, yeah, any car. Where are we at on the car?
On the vehicles,
Yes, sir.
we have two vehicles that are still authorized under state bid, even though they canceled the state bid project. Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge canceled out their state bids. Obviously, on the state bid, you get the vehicles substantially cheaper. It's usually around 60-65% what the normal purchase price of that vehicle would be. The VIN numbers for the two vehicles that were requested under the state bid have been cut and they will be getting delivered. And that was under the state bid price. Other than that, if we seek out any other vehicles, they would be used vehicles for the future reference at this point until they reach out and state bid.
Any other questions? Did you have anything else?
The numbers are pretty consistent across the board. The one thing that I would indicate is that it's probably the overall most important number, in my opinion, not to show like severity of an incident or anything, but the overall calls. It's at the bottom of page 4. It's the one that is below the red line. And you'll see that the total calls dispatched on viewed by Pike County Joint Communications for the month was 683. That's roughly 22.5 calls per day is what the average call ratio is at a 30-day base. And then for the year, you're looking at 3,800.
Yes.
Thank you. Have we received any communications from the fire chief? Okay. Council committee reports. Infrastructure, ground, streets, and sidewalk committee.
Do we have a representative of the fire department here? I mean, the one that states that we're supposed to have one.
It's not in the ordinance. I've checked it today. You can look at it. I requested that he would be here.
I think my hand was where I read it. It states that.
Yeah, I just reviewed the process of the procedure ordinance. Yeah, I do too, and I'll speak with the chief or public safety committee can speak with the chief. He's right there.
He's probably at this thing for Mitch. I mean, that's what most of the firemen are.
All right, so infrastructure, ground, streets, and sidewalk committee.
Well, the good thing is, like Kelly was saying, we got the rest of the ARPA stuff that we needed, so that kind of sealed the deal on what we were all talking about as far as streets and what we were gonna deal with. If we do the stuff with the riverfront, that'll be good. Need some attention down there for sure. Aside of waiting on the bids to get finished up to get the work going for the paving and all that. That's not all I have. Waiting on the art, but I'm glad it's here.
All right. Public Safety and Police Hiring Committee.
Chief, went over the car situation. We've got 3 applications for police cart that has to go up on committee to review. We're full staff on the police.
He left around,
We're full staff, Hank. We're not in need of any right now.
Officer, everybody's in the other room.
Uh,
Officer, everybody's in the other room. Can I ask one?
What we got on staff? We were down 1 still. So we're down 1 officer, still. And as you roll in and roll out, we're staying pretty steady at 6, 7. 1 short. Other than that, that's.
all right. Ordinance Committee.
Now, do we want to take up the proposed tax adoption now, or do we want to?
I'd say, go ahead, let's go, I mean, it's, council's pleasure, I have no objection to taking it up now. It's actually in sequence.
It's listed here, so let's take that up. Pretty well, of course. Well, let me make a motion for a first reading of ordinance enacted pursuant to Missouri Revised Statute Section 67.110, fixing the annual rate of levy for the real estate and personal property taxes in the corporate limits of the city of Louisiana.
There a motion on the floor?
Oh, I'll say.
Got a second?
All right, so.
Any, let's go ahead and open the floor to discussion.
So as we discussed a little bit earlier, I think Greg gave us a pretty good review summary on the state auditor sends us papers that show us what the tax rate we can levy is, what is our current ceiling. And so as of 1980, when the Hancock Amendment passed, the city was levying the full $1 that's allowed. $1 on $100 in assessed value that year in 1901. So, but since then, as Greg indicated, between the assessed value and the changes in cost of living, it has significantly eroded our ceiling, so that we're down now at 0.8074. And so there's also a distinction between assessments and non-assessment years, so that we are currently in a non-assessment year. And in a non-assessment year, we can get ourselves up to that ceiling. If we do not do that this year, we will be stuck at that rate for 2 years through the assessment year. In the assessment year, the assessor comes through and assesses the properties and changes the value. I think that's about all I've got on preparing the ones there. That's where they came from.
Cannot this be brought up at mid-year when we have our mid-year budget review?
I'm sure they could.
And that way we will know how much money, know more about our monies, and that we would be able to make a better decision than what we're doing right now, as far as I'm concerned.
No, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. That is what our ordinance seems to contemplate.
We always, we started this mid-year budget review to make sure that we were within within the confines of our budget and that we were also legal in what we did. And by then, we'll know more about our expenses.
Oh, so we can't wait till like December when we do the mid-year because if we're gonna levy any kind of tax, it has to be in under statute by September 1st. And so we could move it forward to the yearly budget meeting. I was thinking mid-calendar year, I'm sorry.
We're stuck with.
Yeah, so essentially, if we don't send anything, and I believe we essentially like no profit.
No words now or never.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think I may be wrong here, and Greg or Lindy, correct me, but this year was a evaluation year, such evaluation year. And it went up from last year. If you look at the residential, 15,088,070, went up 15,149,580. That's, I believe this is, I've seen the assessor out of my property looking at it here. So just maybe it's not that it makes any difference in the scheme of things, but I think we are in a such valuation year.
No, we are.
So my concerns for the council is I like things kind of clear cut. What's our ceiling? What are we bringing it up to? In which that's pretty stated, but we did not budget for this. In fact, our budget's significantly less than what this is going to increase our revenues. In fact, even the $29,000 is nothing compared to the revenue projected at $295,000 compared to what we budgeted for this year, which was $219,000. And that's not clear cut for me. It would make sense that we would follow and predict our budget, because the budget's nothing more than an estimation anyway, at the beginning of the year when we approve it. It seems like we're approving a budget before we even take into consideration tax hikes that we could potentially enact. So, and Greg, unless you can do something a little bit more clear cut, just my simple way of looking at it, we are going against RSMO. I'm not aware, but
Well, I would look at, so the tax notice indicated that the budgeted revenue for 21-22 from general revenue funds was 262,000. So that number came from somewhere else. So I just encourage you to look at the budgeted numbers and where that is. 262 to 290 is certainly not as large of a difference. There's also just the whole issue of impossibility that you don't have these numbers until August, and then you have to set the rates by September 1st. And when the city does its budget, it does not have all of the information it needs to do the tax rates. And as far as the point about the ordinance is saying that it has to be done in May, well, it wouldn't be possible to do it in May because you'd just be stabbing in the dark and risking having a rate not comply with the state auditor's calculations. So the I'd kind of want more information on what that difference truly is and what the number in the budget is. But either way, you have, even under, like I think I pointed out earlier, even at the 7359, that number is certainly different than the budgeted number you're quoting, Mayor. So there's not a hard line rule in case law saying what substantially really means in this context.
other questions from council?
And the statute that you're concerned about is the 67-110.
Right. There you go, that highlighted if you want. Front and back.
Yeah, I think this is giant.
Yeah, I think it's in subsection 2 of that statute, Nick, where there is language indicating that the number, that the tax rate that the city publishes in the tax notice should be, you know, calculated to generate substantially the same amount of revenue as called for in the budget.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. The one on the back.
Any other questions? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes. Take the roll, please.
Mr. Siddart.
No.
Evans.
Yes.
Zarno. No.
Whoa.
Mr. Giltner.
No.
Mr. Peugeot.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Dolbear. Mr. Ringhouse.
Yes.
All right.
Make a motion for a second reading of an ordinance enacted pursuant to the Missouri Revised Statute, section 67.110, fixing the annual rate of levy for the real estate and personal property tax within the corporate limits of the city of Louisiana, Missouri.
We have a motion.
Second it.
A second from Councilwoman Evans. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, get that, go ahead and take the roll.
Siddart. Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Zarno. No. Mr. Giltner.
No.
Mr. Peugeot.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Dolbear. Mr. Ringhouse.
Yes.
Okay. I'll take that under advisement and let the council know what I decided. Next order of business.
Actually. Is it possible, because this has to be passed by September, or we will probably be left without any property tax whatsoever? Is it possible to pass another version? If you're possibly thinking about. Because otherwise, we may have to call another special meeting. Before the end of the month in order to.
You'd have to give 7 days notice again, I believe, right?
Well, we can amend the ordinance, right, so, like, we can make a motion for amendments, have it. Right, so I mean, as long as it's a city topic and passing the tax, we've given the notice.
I'd have to, I can answer that, but
Greg, Lindy, is that something, could we pass sort of a backup ordinance?
Well, if you include conditional language, then I guess that might be one way to approach it. But
Well, since we've already done it, maybe better to come special if we need to.
We have to do that for the
mhm. And I think that would be, cleaner, yes.
okay. Did you have anything further?
No.
Okay. All righty. Economic Development and Tourism Committee.
Diane already talked about the grant, which is great. We do have the rolling down the river that's gonna be coming through. I did reach out to them to find out if we can get a kind of an exact date instead of somewhere between September 30th and October 1st. So if we could get a more solid date.
I'm hearing the 29th.
Okay. I'm hoping that's
That don't break down while traveling.
anything happens, right? So we
It's a
do,
historic boat, right?
yeah, we do want to do that, but we do make sure that we can accommodate it docking because they do want to do rides and things like that. I know we do have the dock down there, but I don't know if that's gonna be efficient enough for their needs, so.
So Kelly and I spoke today, and I want the council to be aware too. I mean, I think it's a great deal to have it at our riverfront. And the American Legion is going to help sponsor the whole event. The biggest concern that I've gotten feedback from was basically the condition of what the riverfront looks like. And whether, you know, we can, as short staff as we are for grounds, that we can utilize, ground support and some volunteers, I think we can get it ready, you know, ahead of time.
Well, I mean, we got about a month to go.
It's September 20 something, right?
Yeah.
29,
Yeah, that's expected.
that's expected date. But I mean, we did reach out, Chamber did reach out to them as well. Just, we think it'd be a great idea to have here. We think it'd be great
Yeah.
for the community to see.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to bring it here.
So, yeah, so council don't have any objection, but let the council, you know, clear direction that we want to try to get the riverfront ready for the event.
Yeah, again, my biggest concern with it is just making sure we can stop.
Right. Right. All right, anything else? Housing, health, senior services.
Still working on our house list. I do have a report from Jeff Windmiller's for August. He had 2 building permits, 55 violation letters, took 137 photos, did 13 inspections, had 3 summons. Demo projects and repairs, there were 3, sidewalk grants 1, yards by the city was 8, and 3 bed bug infestations. Woohoo! So he has a fun one, but that's basically it.
All right, thank you. Community and Employee Relations Committee. Nothing else there? Okay. Pre-commission.
Nothing now, but the weather is cooling down, so I think we're going to be ready to do a little bit more soon. Yeah. We'll try again in the park.
Historic preservation.
We have a meeting coming up about, we have paperwork that came in from people bringing dress that we're gonna have a meeting. It just needs to get scheduled on the books and sure everybody can be there.
I saw recently that the game room,
They're close.
they closed. I saw them taking signage down. So, okay.
They had some differences in what.
Okay. All right, any old business not on the agenda?
I'd like to back up on infrastructure and grounds, I'm sorry. Arbor Association, is really touting giving trees away.
Yeah.
And, I've gotten information at home on that. I'm sure that maybe some of you may have too, but maybe that's a possibility that we could look into, and getting some help with our grounds too.
Good deal.
Let me give you some trees.
Our trees, they're baby. Take trees.
All right, we got new business. Proposed special council engagement letter.
So we considered previously, we have some complaints that were directed against the mayor by city employees. And we had one of these before that we considered ourselves, but given the nature of some of these that they may already be proceeding in the direction of litigation and that there are more of them than before, we have an engagement letter here from what's his name, Paul Martin. He does these investigations and can prepare a report on what he finds for council's consideration. He practices this type of law, does municipal law, and has done these kind of investigations before. But I would make a motion to accept and approve the special counsel agreement with Paul Martin.
Got a motion on the floor,
Second.
got a second. Open discussion, any questions from the floor?
Who is this person?
Paul Martin is his name.
He's the guy that
What?
talked to us the last time on Zoom, our last meeting, he was here on Zoom.
I don't believe, yeah,
You were-
you was.
you were-
What about here? You
Yeah.
were with.
Oh, I thought he could make it.
Oh. I can't, that's why I don't know. who it is.
He couldn't, then couldn't.
Right.
Oh,
You will look, yeah.
They give me.
Do we have any, is it open for discussion?
Yes.
Yes,
Do we have any idea what this is gonna cost?
or like a total,
Yeah,
no, thing.
well then where in the hell is the money coming from then?
So
Don't have to.
just to entertain my point of view on this. It's as I mentioned to the council before, I believe it's unwarranted and founded, and I understand the council's wish to do due diligence and treat every complaint with the utmost importance. I understand that. I understand that. However, there is no litigation pending, and there is no attorney that's been represented before this council for any potential litigation, even though the threat may be there. I view this whole process as potentially going beyond an investigation and looking for potential just cause for the council to take any other appropriate action it deems necessary. So that's my point of view. I think it's a waste of money. We don't have much money to spend on certain things. And it's one of the things where it kind of shows we're not working together, which is that we're in conflict. And I don't like that. Y'all don't like that. And I think outside forces are causing the conflict to take place. And that's my opinion.
Can you elaborate on the outside forces?
No, I'm not. Any other questions? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Those opposed?
Opposed?
Okay. I will veto. Take it up at the next meeting. And
What
miscellaneous
is in
business.
the letter of engagement? What
Excuse
does the
me?
letter of engagement say? Can that be read by council?
Is this an open record, Greg?
Should be.
As redacted, yes, because it's a contract for services. There was just, the names of individual employees redacted out as proper closed session materials. And also just a point of order, Mr. Mayor, there was not a bill. This was not in the form of a bill. It's not an item that can be vetoed.
So point of order on that.
I think actually as you're involved in it, I think maybe Mayor Pro Tem should have been the presiding officer for that. The Robert's rules.
Hold on here. So whoever asked a question about it being read, Councilman Trudeau, would you mind reading it?
Oh, so yeah. Okay. Okay, so the letter is from Carolyn Martin LLC, attorneys at law. We'll skip most of the rest of the heading. It was dated August 10th, 2022. It was addressed to our attorney Greg Dorman. Regarding special counsel / personnel complaint investigation. Dear Mr. Dorman, as discussed Monday night, should the Louisiana City Council vote to retain my firm, we'll be happy to provide legal services to the city pursuant to section 115.180 of the city code.
It's going too fast.
We're slowing them down.
Yeah, sorry, my fault. We'll be happy to provide legal services to the city pursuant to section 115.180 of the city code and under the terms and conditions of this letter agreement. Services will include all work necessary or desirable to: 1, investigate the complaints against Mayor Timothy Carter filed by city employees, conduct any follow-up investigation of matters uncovered during the primary investigation or other related matters that come to light. 3, report the results to Louisiana City Council. 4, advise the city council on the types of disciplinary proceedings that the evidence collected in the investigation may support, if any. And 5, if the city council then decides to pursue disciplinary proceedings, take such actions as may be needed to prosecute such disciplinary proceedings before the city council and, if necessary, in the Pike County Circuit Court. If additional employment-related complaints are filed during the time we are performing these legal services, we will, at the direction of the city council, include such complaints within the scope of our work. Collectively, these efforts are described as the legal services. Our representation will be subject to the following terms and conditions. Section 1, titled Scope and Duties of Representation. The legal services shall be limited to the matters described above, and any requested services outside of that scope may require a separate attorney agreement. The legal services will be provided in a manner consistent with the Missouri Supreme Court's Code of Professional Responsibility. However, we are not able to guarantee outcomes. We will keep the Louisiana City Council informed about the representation and follow the lawful directions of the council concerning the representation. We will preserve client confidences, except in those limited circumstances in which disclosure is required by law or permitted by the council. We will not represent conflicting interests without the council's informed consent. Section 2, titled Fees and Expenses. We'll charge a rate of $250 per hour for partner time and $200 per hour for associate time. We'll begin charging for our time effective as of the date of execution of this letter agreement. We will submit an itemized monthly bill with time charge in increments of 1/10 of an hour. The city will be responsible for payment of attorney fees within 30 days of receipt of the monthly statement, which will include all expenses reasonably incurred in connection with the representation. We will either advance reasonable and necessary expenses for subsequent reimbursement by you, or we will submit those expenses directly to you for payment. Disagree with any amount charged, you must let us know so that we can discuss the charge and make any needed adjustments. In parentheses, we anticipate the need to conduct in-person interviews. If these occur in Louisiana, travel expense will be included in the billing. Close parentheses. Section 3, entitled Client Cooperation. The City Council will approve this agreement by majority vote and is required by law. The council and all city officials will promptly and fully respond to requests for interviews and information from us, and otherwise fully cooperate with us in the course of the representation. The council will appoint a contact person who shall keep us informed of any pertinent information or developments that may come to the council's attention. The contact person shall keep us informed of all changes to your address, telephone numbers, and whereabouts, including travel on business or vacation during the course of the representation. Section 4, titled City Attorney Conflict. The council acknowledges that due to the nature of the representation and the possibility of later involvement in disciplinary proceeding, the city attorney shall not be involved in the legal services. All communications between us and the council shall be made either directly or through the city's designated contact person. Section 5, entitled Term. This agreement shall remain in effect until terminated by the city at will or by us consistent with the rules of professional conduct. In the event of such termination, you shall pay for all services and expenses incurred up to the date and time of termination, and for all services and expenses needed to close and transfer the case, file materials as you may direct. Section 6, entitled Files. Any time after 1 year has passed since the conclusion of our representation, we may have your files delivered to you or have them destroyed, unless you have expressly requested delivery of the files to you. If these terms are acceptable to the Louisiana City Council, please execute and return a copy of this letter to me. An electronic copy is acceptable. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. I appreciate the opportunity to represent the city in this matter. Sincerely, Paul Martin.
Thank you. There you go. I'll take one. So Greg, he is talking about a point of order. I will refer you to RSMO 77.280. Mayor may do. Did you go say something?
Sorry, the audio was cutting out there. Veto resolutions or orders. But I would also point out the obvious conflict of interest, and that the motion involves you. And so, the council has the option of, under Robert's rules, moving to supersede the chair on this point.
So this is to investigate the complaints. I know they were about me, but I would believe the investigation of the complaints would be the validity of the complaints themselves, right?
Well, it's to hire
Unless you're
someone
saying
to
that-
conduct an investigation
Right.
into complaints that have been made against the mayor.
Right, so the validity of the complaints, it's not necessarily taking action towards me. It could potentially lead that way. But wouldn't it make more sense for this council to consider a third party, let's say the Missouri State Highway Patrol or someone with investigative authority that could do this?
There are no criminal complaints filed.
Well, I read the complaints. And without disclosing any information within the complaints, that's could be interpreted differently.
I mean, are you saying the highway patrol takes investigations that are non-criminal?
I'm saying that there's stuff in the complaints that could warrant the state highway patrol to look at. Not only towards me, but those who are filing the complaints.
So can we override this veto at this time? Greg?
Yes, you can make a motion as a member to overrule the chair.
So,
But then
Greg,
take a
Greg?
2/3.
Greg, point of order, 77-280, it says such veto shall be noted on the journal of the council and shall be effective and binding unless the council at a subsequent session thereof, general or special, shall pass said resolution or order by vote of 3/4 of all members elected to the council.
I think that's under the Roberts order that we could.
I'm just reading the RSMO statutes.
I think you're correct, Mayor, that would be one avenue, but because of the conflict of interest, the council could vote to recuse your involvement on the vote. And I understand your point then and agree with you that this does not have any, we're not at a stage that involves any findings, but it is
This is a dollar and cents thing.
Go
right
forward
now.
with the process of how to investigate the complaints, and the person that's the subject of the complaints should be removed from decisions on how that process is done.
I didn't make a decision, so the council can override it at the next special meeting or regular meeting.
What are we doing here? Just what in the hell are we doing here? You're willing to go out and spend 50, 75, 100,000 or $1 million or $1 billion here so that we can impeach somebody. Now, why in the hell can't we sit here as 8 grown adults and try to work this out without having to go through court and go through lawsuits after the court, after the firing or the impeachment or whatever? Because this isn't gonna end. I can guarantee you, there'll be somebody on this council that will be sued or wants to sue, or the mayor may want to sue, or whatever. Why can't we've had one person that I know of, and I may be wrong on this, and I will give my apologies in advance. This gentleman here, and I respect that, did come and try to talk to the mayor and work with him.
Was in front of the rest of the council as well.
Well, okay, I didn't know that, but the fact is that he is the only one. Unless I'm wrong, did you go and see him?
Yes.
You saw it,
Yes,
and you talked to him about what problem?
we've talked about multiple problems. We have what, 2 meetings?
And animal control. Issues.
Yes.
Okay. Did you talk to him?
Sat for 3 hours in Sunset Park and discussed all sorts of.
All right, you and Brian.
Yes, sir.
I finally woke up there. Did you talk to him? Of course, I wasn't here, but I didn't talk to him about anything concerning that. The only thing I raised hold of the can about was the water bill. And it said I better not see the sewer bill coming along behind it. And which you've all heard that. And Bobby, have you talked to him? Okay. Was it productive or not?
It cleared the air, but it didn't change anything.
But it cleared the air. Well, I don't. We fussed over money tonight. But yet we're willing to go out and there's no telling what this is gonna cost. No telling. Why? I think the point should be, should have gotten over to the mayor by now that there's dissatisfaction. I think he should understand that. Now, if he's lied before, if he's committed hara-kiri, or if he's done whatever, by the time we get through and saying that if this ever happens again, you're gone. The man's been here 4 months, in my recollection, all April, May, June, July. Half of April, so they put it into half of August. A little over 4 months. And we're ready to throw him out.
No, that's not true.
That's.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. Yep.
We'd have an impeachment if we were trying to throw them out. That's not what we have.
That's what the investigation.
We know how this works, y'all, this is court.
That's what the.
Hey. Stay
Well,
on the floor.
I can't get over it.
Council, I vetoed this. And you can override it, but give me an opportunity to sit in closed session with you. When y'all heard the complaints, I gave y'all confidentiality with the complainants. I left the room.
Before we spoke to them, we asked them, if you'd like to make a statement. Your statement was, none of it's true, and then you left. That was your statement. We gave you the chance.
My statement was, that wasn't my exact statement.
No,
It's on the record. It wasn't exact. I didn't say that. I said they were unfounded. And they're exaggerated. And
But
And
the point is, we did ask you, you said we didn't give you a chance in closed session to talk about it. We did.
no, you did. And I admitted right now, just before you made your statement, that I didn't stay for that because I had left to let y'all have the confidentiality. I will not make that mistake again. I should have stayed for the whole thing to go through the process, and that's my right to do so. I'm gonna stand firm as far as what I stated to you, and I can go through one by one, not for an hour and 40 minutes over something, but I will give you a point of view of where I'm coming from. And even yourselves, if you read the complaints and stuff, I would like to hear from you, the council, your concerns on these issues, because majority of them are false and the majority of them occurred or supposedly occurred before the election. I like to know what the breakdown is, because I know the investigation side of it, what the end game is to be played out. I think everyone does. I think we can overcome that and save and do right by the city and not stretch this thing out for the next 6 months. Because that's where it's going to be, in my foresight. I'm not willing to spend all that money, so that's where I'm at. Nick the prick.
The comment was inappropriate.
I heard noise, I didn't. Yeah.
We've asked other people, we were doing the same thing, we're not.
I wrapped the gavel. All right, any other questions on the council on this subject? If not, I move for immediate clarification.
We are still on new business, so we're going to talk about Mitch Russell proclamation.
Yes, thank you for the point of order. So entertain a motion for drafting a proclamation for recognition.
Inappropriate.
For. Okay, did you get the motion? So to entertain a motion to draft a proclamation for Mitch Asphalt for his service to our community. Motion made by Councilman Ringhausen.
I'll second.
And a second by Councilman Peugeot. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yeah.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. All right, miscellaneous business, including comments from the public on any matter pertinent to city business.
I'm sorry, I'm going to.
Mike Sherman, 811 North. And so, y'all talking about the council engagement letter. The lawyers sitting there, we got lawyers listening. Who makes out on all the legal deals? The lawyers. Why? Because they always get their money. There are very few occasions where lawyers lose because they always get paid. Ellisville, Missouri, that council spent $100,000, I believe, what I read, trying to take care of the mayor. Because using Don's words, which I don't like to do, but because the council was butt hurt over a Walmart store going in. The mayor won the election and the council wanted the Walmart, but the public that elected the mayor didn't want the Walmart. So they elected the mayor to keep the Walmart from going in. So the council spent $100,000+ on lawyers, which this council is already spending $100,000 on the city attorney or more by the end of the year. Now they're going to hire another lawyer. Luckily, this lawyer that they're considering is about $100 an hour cheaper than the city attorney. Check it out. They get $300 and something an hour. And their paralegals get a little less than that. Go ahead and look at the agreement. I already sunshined it. I know it. So you're gonna waste our money. So what'd you do? You raised our water 7.5% so you can pursue a mayor. You raised our property taxes another 7% so you can go after the mayor, all because you're sore losers. So what happens if I go into Walmart and I have a t-shirt on that has a skeleton hand with the middle finger up and it has Nick underneath? Nick for Joe, or Bill Ringham, Bob Ringham, or any of them. Y'all just gonna sit there and take it? What if a dump truck goes down the street driven by a city employee and they flip you off? It's gonna sit and take it? Yeah, right. We all sure you will. Absolutely. We wouldn't discipline a city employee, especially if they're related to somebody on the police department. Hell, what do we do if, people are riding around in pickup trucks and drinking beer and they're on the council? Don't do that either. Y'all are a bunch of sore losers. You're kids.
That's killing our town.
Immature kids.
Anyone else?
I didn't get if you voted to engage this council, this engagement letter or not. Where does that stand?
We did and the mayor vetoed it and we're sorting out exactly what that means.
Okay.
So at the moment, no, I do not believe that the attorney is.
Okay, because, we were just talking about lawyer fees and you just put out the half a year thing in the paper that tells how much everything's been spent and so forth and so on, right? Over $100,000 already this year? Over $100,000 already this year. I don't think we need another 100,000 on top of what we'll probably pay them for another 100,000. You only done half a year. As a citizen of this town, I say don't hire them.
Just real quick, what was that code the letter was pursuant to? In the letter you were reading, what was the code?
Let me get it up, 115.180.
Thank you.
I think that's the only city code cited in time.
115.180.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other comments?
So if
So the microphone, everyone can hear you.
you're gonna investigate the mayor with an attorney, how about you hire an attorney to investigate the council? Now, the police department, let's just investigate the whole city. Shit, Cobain, Kelly, all of them. If you're gonna invest the mayor that we elected in, then you should invest the city council and your fantastic police department. Your chief of police likes to cuss people out. What can be done about that? She liked Tiffany, she liked to sit there and lie. I don't live, yeah, I live in there, yeah, no, you don't. You live with your mom on 3rd Street. You have your husband, your ex-husband. So if you're gonna investigate the mayor, investigate the city. Why is it inappropriate, honey? Because it's true.
Can Zoom people talk?
Yeah.
Well, good
State
evening,
your name.
everybody. Yes, my name's April Epperson. For anybody who doesn't know me, knows that I did work there as the chief of police. So what I would like to say regarding the engagement letter and a few other things this evening is the following. So first and foremost, about a few months back, you guys talked about the work environment, hostile work environment there at the city. So I want to know first and foremost, what the council, what this governing body has done to improve the process for a hostile work environment for city employees. Because I personally wrote a 2-page letter that fell on deaf ears regarding a hostile work environment, and you guys as council did do nothing about it. So what are you guys doing to improve the city process and policies to improve the working environment of the city, people who work for the city? That's the first question. Do I get no, is there any response or?
April, we heard you. From my knowledge, we haven't moved in any action towards that.
Okay. Secondly, what is this governing body doing to ensure any complaint that is filled out by a city employee is actually validated with evidence or preponderance of the evidence regarding the complaints and the things that are in the complaints? Number 3, what has this city governing body done regarding an email that I have sent back in September of last year regarding charging citizens and outside citizens fees for impound fees that are not being paid, that cannot be paid after hours? Have you formulated a system to improve that so you're not charging people when they can't get their vehicles out of impound? Number 4, regarding the engagement letter that you guys read, is there a maximum hour that you put in the contract that this investigator / attorney is going to be able to do? Did you put a max on it? And I'll just leave my comments at that for now, and I will be looking forward to the next meeting.
Anyone else? Media clarification? No. Okay. So I have a consideration of a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of a revised Missouri statute, section 610.021, subsection 1 and 3. So moved. Got a motion? Second. Any discussion? Is there, for the record show that Councilman Sutter and Councilman Ringhausen has left the meeting?
And I'm getting ready. I got a wife to take care of.
Okay. So please take the roll.
If Don's leaving, soon we're gonna lose a quorum if Don goes.
I'm not, I got a wife out there.
Yeah, I understand.
Take care of it.
Been too damn long anyway. This meeting
Let's
has
see
been
how
going.
we go.
All right.
How come we only talk?
Take the roll, please.
Mr. Sutter. Mr. Evans.
Yeah.
Ms. Ardno. Mr. Giltner.
Here.
Joe. Roberts.
Here.
Bill Bear. Ring out.
Yes, so.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, we're gonna be in recess for about 5 minutes. And then we'll make a motion who's gonna be in the meeting.
Is there a specific time you need to be with Priscilla? Like, what time do you want out of here?
Is there a specific time you need to be out by?
I need to be out there at least by 8:30.
Okay, we'll get,
What time we got?
almost, it's after 8.
8:04.
So we'll work on it as fast as we can for you.
Can we go right in?
Well, as soon as we clear the room, and then we'll make a motion who's gonna be in the closed session.
Keep doing this, Jonathan, start now. Can you say, Emily, hello?
This is getting ridiculous. And it's your fault. You need to get your chief of police or I would have filed charges.
I'm done. How long do you want to keep kissing what you got over their head? This is enough.
I'm
Not
done.
all over the police department.
You need to get
I
out
have
there.
to, but I am not. Hey,
I did most.
Hey,
He does not use anybody like that. This is the problem.
Your problem is not talking to me, because I'm going to file charges.
Don wants to know what the problem is Kelly, Rango, that's family, Nancy, Ryan, Nick, and I don't know where the hell Tiffany's at in this point, is all against him and have been since day one, including that police department. That's what this is.
The police department pulled my kids over, my
Hey,
son over
hey,
because I come in here,
discussion's over.
but then do something with me.
We'll work on it.
Exactly.
We're working on it.
That's always, we're working on it. Kelly, you need to get my ditch fucking mowed, dude.
What?
Then sign off on it.
We mowed the part where we have to mow.
No, you
All right, hey.
mow the whole thing.
No,
We're-
that's
go
not
ahead.
what
Everyone else says.
Oh,
Everyone out, please.
hell, I thought it was me.
Ryan, I think I should work on by already.
You Don, it was all your
It
fault.
was earlier.
Hell, everything is. Hey, at my age, I can take it.
Had a lot of practice.
Big man is still on.
Hell. Where'd that come from?
It's been the
That's been the normal here.
Fine.
That's all it is.
Nasty,
We don't-
nasty, nasty, and sick.
Nancy, I'm not gonna take anyone's side on this, but it is always a two-way street. It is always a two-way street. Regardless,
Tim, it is, but I don't think that anybody talk to these guys.
They need to leave if they're gonna act like
You know
that.
what?
It's that simple.
That's not right.
Don,
I
would
mean,
you let
I-
them sit there
They
and
got the
dial
right
somebody
to
like
their
that?
viewpoint, but
When
they
you
don't
make
have the right to
shit
sit
over
there and say stupid stuff for no good reason. That's my opinion.
so.
But I didn't have all.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I
I
agree.
mean, they have a
I
right.
agree with you. Decorum is always a big thing and we did expel 2 people
No,
earlier,
I know.
you know.
My problem is, yeah, everybody else gets to stay, and you rag and gravel, and it continues, and that continues, and it continues. And they're making comments against me, against me myself, but you're still allowed. But yet we kick other people out, that's an
I'm just doing the trade.
Yeah, we had another fun t-shirt.
I just do think that it really, you know, there's might be an opportunity, Nick, and whoever's here, I know we're not, but there might be an opportunity, especially if the council wants to, if the council wants to reconsider the engagement law, there's gonna be an right?
Well, there's
So
one
if that's the case, and that's what the council wants to do, let's tag on what's in closed session right now on that meeting, so that meeting ain't a one topic subject.
we're gonna go ahead and.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, town needs to get moving. If it's not something, I mean, I don't know what the topics are, so if it's not something.
It's hiring, the police clerk is, I think, the only thing we really want to address, because we do need an employee in that position.
Well, yes and no, and post clerk, that's fine, but the, you know, we're fine with our pressure right now.
I think that'll be my new job, Tim, every day. I'll just-
It's where it's at, so I mean, it's something, I guess, if the council's fine with us trying to just bridge over until the next meeting or whatever, the best we can do with the treasurer, okay, but
Those are 2 things we gotta have.
we've got to figure out something.
I think at least the treasurer
we want to bridge. So anyway, I want to bridge the treasurer's position to a full-time, but we need to be able to get charities on board.
Thank you.
So remember I mentioned to the council before about Guy Crouch, and he's willing to do a scope of work to bridge that and create that document for us. And he can bring charity online without the question of conflict of interest. So we can actually have something to work with when we do appoint treasurer. So
we're clear, no one's coming back.
so what I'm asking the council for is to authorize Kelly to extend up to $7,000 for an agreement for this bridging of the treasurer's position to a documented process that can move forward. And now,
Upon review of the document by our attorneys.
yeah,
I would like to wait till we have something from Guy in writing.
well, so that's what we're saying. I mean, we kind of do. Kelly and I have received it, but the actual finished document, all you're doing is we'll have to have another session to go over it. I mean,
So all we're authorizing now is drawing up an agreement.
drawing up an agreement and all. I would, and with the review of the city attorneys,
To actually complete the sign.
go ahead and complete it because time is of an essence with the treasurer spot. So.
Or then figure out to an hour.
I don't,
Well, you know, what I've been seeing and what I've been hearing, we're in the, we're shooting in the mid-40s to 50 an hour at this point.
We can't keep doing that.
She
No.
is.
No,
he is.
What,
She is.
No, she.
well, and really, both of them are, because what I figured the math on both of them, they're both in that area. Is where we're at. So during this bridge thing, I mean, honestly, we're looking at, if everything goes through, we're looking at $100 an hour.
So do we have anybody who's interested in the position full time?
I'm praying every day.
One person that may be interested. But see, this bridge process, we need a document because Sherry has all the knowledge and everything else. She's been doing it,
Well, the reason
right?
I asked was because if we're gonna bridge this, let's bridge it to the final person, not the temporary person, you know what I mean?
So the thing is, the person that's going to bridge to has no knowledge of the base, right? Guy is a CPA that does have knowledge of the process and base and how to document it. But we need a how-to book. This is how we do our finances. This is how we do it. And that's only intent of the bridge process.
So Charity can't do that? She can't do a how-to?
So the thing about that, no, I'm not, no. Even though the attorney had expressed, there potentially is no conflict of interest, I still think there is, but I think under the guise of a third party like Guy and paying her from him for whatever he's collecting, paying her, and then we got that third party look at our process instead of just.
I just wanna make sure we're saving as much money as possible and we're not double dipping where we don't need to, or.
sorry, Mayor, if I may, I don't know that the actual approval of the contract is on the agenda, but I would suggest just having Guy submit a proposal. I can incorporate it into the same type of form contract. And then we can bring them back at a special meeting or whatever. And if you have other individuals, we can do them as well if you've already received proposals there.
So
I'd like to add that if we found that full-time person that we think is gonna be full-time, that nothing says, the way I'm seeing it, Tim may disagree, that they can't sit in with Charity and with Guy, and that would be the wonderful thing if we could get that to happen, right?
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah.
The reason I'm looking for Guy is because of the process of documenting it and going forward with kind of a third party view at what we do. Because he may give us some good insight as far as bettering our processes, but.
We'll come back to that then.
Okay. Motion to adjourn,
I make a motion to adjourn.
second discussion. All of those in favor say yes.
Yeah.
Carries.
Hey, oh, We'll go home and get some.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's